All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. ATR podcast. Gio Garcia here. I'm alongside Christian Mosqueda back with another episode. Spooky season. We got October on the way. Well, we're actually already in October, but just ready for all this action to get started, Chris. Spooky season. Boxing fans might get spooked out by those pay-per-view prices, Chris. We got some pay-per-view fights, but yeah, we'll get into it. Welcome back.
Welcome back to everybody that's joining the chat, joining. Yeah, boxing's back, Jill. A little bit hungover from the Canelo Crawford, man. And, we need some boxing, and there's some boxing on the horizon. Let's get going.
All right, let's get it. And yeah, we got some action this weekend, as you guys see there on your screens now. Philadelphia, October 11th, Jaron Boots Ennis against Lima. Have you heard of him, Chris?
Heard a little bit about him. A little bit, a little bit.
Oh, you know more than me. I know nothing about him. But we'll get into that. That's actually in his hometown of Boots and Ennis in Philly. So that should be interesting. Let's see how they're looking, man. Of course, we know Ennis undefeated 34 and 0, 30 KOs. He fought against Imantas Stanionis, won via KO 6 rounds. 6 rounds it took him. That was actually in April of this year. And he's fighting, as I said, Uisma Lima. I hope I'm saying that right. 14 and 1, 10 KOs, 32 years old, fighting out of Portugal, born in Angola. You see his resume there. He's coming off a few wins. He actually fought also in this year in May. Couple fights in 2024. Lima, who now has a tough task against Jaron Ennis at home. Let's look at the odds. I was very curious by the odds. You see the odds there on your screen. Jaron Ennis, minus 1,400 to minus 3,000 are the ranges. And of course, Lima plus 800 to about plus 1,300. So, wow. Yeah, very wide. It looks like that this fight should be very wide. Everything in favor of Jaron Ennis. He's at home. He's fighting a guy he should be comfortably. But we've seen a lot of those homecomings in recent years, Chris. They haven't lived up to the hype. I think the one more recent was Oscar Valdez, who fought not too long ago, and he struggled a little bit. So we'll see if that happens to Jaron Ennis. It looks like it won't, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man. Let's see if he can break that curse.
Yeah, Jerry, you read it right. Minus 1,400. We understand that Boots Ennis is a huge favorite, and I think that those odds have a little bit to do, with people knowing Boots Ennis' skill and virtually nobody knowing who this other guy is. And again, no disrespect, Gio. He probably has some good wins, on the road, but virtually nobody knows them. These are the kind of fights that he can sell himself. Even in defeat, he can put up a good performance. I don't know, maybe catch Boots Ennis with a good shot and make him think twice. But let's keep it real. Boots Ennis' skill level is on a whole different level. I don't know if you caught the press conference, Gio. That thing was trash. Sound was off. You couldn't hear half the time. Like it was horrible. Hopefully Boots Ennis doesn't get associated with these types of production because he's a talent. But yeah, man. Again, I'm excited for this fight, and let's see if Usman can surprise us and show us what some other unknowns have shown us, and it's just the shock factor.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't check it out, but that's very interesting. Makes me want to check it out. And his opponent. He's been in the 160, 154 range. So maybe this is just Boots getting his feet wet a little bit. Maybe just fighting in front of his home crowd. You guys may watch this fight on the Zone. All right, if you guys have the Zone, Philadelphia, October 11th. That's that Saturday. And let's see what's on the undercard. Let's see if we have anything interesting. Nothing that I see so far. A ton of fights, but I don't recognize many of those names, man. And of course, not to not give too much shine to Jaron Ennis, but honestly, quite frankly, there isn't much to talk about in this fight. We'll probably come back next week and break it all down. Might not last very long, but I do also want to highlight another fighter from Philly, Danny Garcia, who's coming back. He actually fought last year, so not much of a comeback, I guess you can say. He last fought against Erislandy Lara in September of 2024. He lost that fight. That was at 160 pounds. Um, but now he's fighting Daniel Gonzalez, 22-4. That's going down in Brooklyn. 35 years old, two veterans. Gonzalez coming off two victories. Danny Garcia surprisingly still fighting, Chris.
Yeah, to me that's a little bit shocking. I feel like obviously Danny's prime was when he was with that PBC stable, the primes of Thurman, the Errol Spence, Ugas, Porter. So at 35, I don't see why he's still fighting. I honestly, I feel like he's made more than enough money. We know that PBC has a history of overpaying their fighters. So yeah, I'm a little shocked, Gio. I feel like that Elisandi Lara was shocking, but at least it was a Lara. It was a named fighter. So I feel like after that fight, he should have, rode off into the sunset and called their career. So a little shocking that he's still fighting. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, Gio, but at 35 and not near his peak, I feel like Danny needs to call it a day.
Yeah, and I think it's coming soon. I think it's coming soon. Surprising there that he's fighting, but let's see what else we have here on the schedule for the month of October. Of course, we mentioned Fundora versus Keith Thurman. Joseph Parker is also fighting the same day, live from London, DAZN. He didn't get a crack at Usyk, but he gets Fabio Wardley. Not quite Usyk, but hey, at least he stays active. Joseph Parker, and as I said, the same day on this side of the pond, on our side of the pond, Las Vegas PBC pay-per-view. Chris, that's what I was talking about there. Spooky season. A lot of boxing fans might get spooked by that pay-per-view. Disrespectful, man. How are you gonna put Fundora against Thurman on pay-per-view? Come on, man. Do better, PBC. But yeah, that's October 25th. PPV on Prime Video. Sebastian Fundora against Keith Thurman. Got Oshaki Foster against Stephen Fulton on the undercard. I like that fight. Jesus Alejandro Ramos against Shane Mosley Jr. I like that fight as well. Frank Martin is on there. And yeah, I mean they're trying to make this card a well-rounded one, obviously to entice those boxing fans. I think it's going to be very, very difficult, but let's see what type of hype Keith Thurman and Sebastian Fundora can build within the next few weeks.
Yeah, Joe. Obviously, this is a money grab. This is PBC trying to, um, catch their last, bags out of these fighters. Again, I think that's very shocking. How do you follow the face of boxing, Canelo and then Crawford on Netflix, for that paid subscription, and then try to, muscle in what did you say, $40-$50? Yeah, that's insane to me. If it was $29.99, $19.99, I get it, but come on, this close to Halloween. Come on, we're trying to buy an outfit for our podcast. We're really gonna show up $50? No, again, this is good names, good match, and good names that they're throwing on the undercard. But for that price tag, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think they're gonna struggle, and here are some of the details there. That's going down at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, Saturday, October 25th. Keith Thurman, who recently fought, yes, but I mean, before that, we know he was very inactive. If you look at the odds, Fundora is supposed to run away with this one. They have him about -4 to 500, Fundora. Thurman about +300, you can say. So, you know, yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. Um, I have a feeling the odds might get wider as we get closer to fight night, but I feel like some people are actually giving Keith Thurman a chance. They still believe in Keith Thurman.
Let me ask you, Gio. Do you feel? How can I phrase this? Are you like those like the bookies favoring Fundora outright, or you think Keith Thurman can surprise?
No, I 100% favor Fundora. I thought the odds would be a little wider, so I'm a little surprised. Maybe they know something we don't. But yeah, I think Fundora is in his prime. Keith Thurman obviously passed his prime. The inactivity, I think, will hurt him. He looked decent in his last fight, but we'll see against a world championship caliber opponent. I'm not sure that Keith Thurman at his age will be ready for a guy like Fundora who's 6'4", super long arms. He's an anomaly for that weight class, 154 southpaw. His fight style is much different than what you would expect for a guy that tall in this division. So I think everything is against Keith Thurman, and I'm surprised that the odds are this close, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the regrets, Gio. You know, I've done this for the podcast for the channel. I put on that heavy bag and I take shots from some of the fighters we've interviewed. I've taken shots from Benavides, from my boy Alan. I mean, I wish I would have taken some shots from Fundora when I interviewed him, just to get a feel for how great his power is. So yeah, I think I would have had a better decision right now. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think I agree with you as fully. I do believe Fundora is in his prime. He's in his peak. He is feeling himself. He's the champ. He just did what he did to you know to the pride of Australia out there, nearly ending his career. So yeah, again, I know he's in the driver's seat, and I want to believe in Keith one time Thurman. I want to believe Gio that he's got one more, great fight. So I'm holding on to that, and I'm like you said, he looked good in his last fight, not near his peak, but still, you know, flashes of his old self. So I want to believe, man. I'm gonna hold on to my decision as we get closer to spooky season, till fight night. But I don't have it as wide, Gio. I'll just leave it at that.
All right, you're putting some respect on one time's name. Let me tell you this though: if you were to take shots from Fundora, you'd probably have to like stand on a chair or something.
For real.
That guy has some
Yeah.
serious height, man. Or make him get on his knees or something. No diddy.
He's lanky, but again, like those that reach and just getting the wind on those hooks, you don't want to get uppercut with that, man. That's not the average uppercut. It's not the average hook. Again, this is yeah, that boy's got a wingspan. He could have been a small basketball player, lanky, but he would have been in there with those guys.
Yeah, we'll be obviously discussing that in weeks to come. Let's see. So, shout out to Iceman checking in. Fundora's sister did good in her last fight, he says. Shout out to Gabriela Fundora. If Keith Thurman
That's
wins, we
another.
know what's Crawford's next fight, he says.
Yeah, that Gabby Fundora is another one, man. They're gonna be. I mean, yeah, she's gonna be a champion for a while, and if Sebastian moves the right business way, he will too. But I don't see it, man. That 154 division is stacked.
Yeah. And let's go to what else we have right here. Um Sorry, I was reading the comments, but let's go to um the other fights that are coming up. Let's see. Obviously, that October 25th is the one that we're talking about. The other one at 154, Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Erickson Lubin. And we heard our good friend Trevor Zambrano say, hey, we want a guy like Ortiz next. We, as in Brandon Adams and himself, but Virgil has that date with Erickson Lubin. That should be a very good fight stylistically. I think they match up well. Fort Worth, Texas, November 8th. Does zone. Um, Obviously, the one you guys see on that small text at the bottom as well, Benavides versus Yard, that's in November. And Naoya Inoue already has his next date. He actually had it before that Akhmadaliev win against Alan Picasso. That's December 27th at the end of the year. Do we even want to talk Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis? I kind of skipped over that, but you have any comments on that exhibition bout?
Yeah, to me that one's interesting. Again, I give respect to Jake Paul for marketing himself and giving himself I think top three paydays of active fighters. So I give him props for that. Obviously, Gervonta Davis is going to jump on that. And again, I think I don't know what's going on with Gervonta, but for him to take this kind of a fight shows that he cares more about the money, Gio, than he does his own boxing legacy, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what that tells me. So, yeah, it's a weird move by Gervonta. I don't know, man. I feel like he's derailing his career. So, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. Are they actually gonna go through with this, or is this a hoax? Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna believe it until I actually see it. So I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah. I don't have too much until we get more information, but yeah, interesting move by Gervonta. I see why Jake is doing it, but Gervonta doing this is, it's in his prime. It's a little odd.
Gabby, that's her name. I keep forgetting. It says Iceman. Yeah, man. She's cool. How tall is she, Chris? Six,
Which taller than me. Yeah, she's like what, 5? She's at least
5'10", 5'11".
probably 5'10".
She's
Yeah,
tall,
probably
man.
good 5'10".
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we
Yeah,
got? Yeah. What else we got? You got any more topics? These are just the general dates here that we got coming up for the end of the year, and hopefully we get some more fight announcements there. I know with Usyk, quote unquote, injured, we saw him dancing out there, living his life, pound for pound. We got another pound for pound. Fighting at the end of the year, so we'll see if we get some more action here. Obviously, after the Canelo Crawford, things kind of died down, rightfully so. But yeah, hopefully those other guys can pick up the slack a little bit.
yeah. Well, Joe, I crapped all over the Boots Ennis and the Portuguese fighters' press conference. Another press conference that went down this week was the Pitbull Cruz versus Lamont Roach. What are your thoughts on that matchup, and who do you favor in that fight if it happens tomorrow?
Yeah, that's a good fight. You know how I feel about Pitbull Cruz. I'm not a big fan of his. I think he's very limited. Lamont Roach, we'll have to see if his win, I'm gonna call it a win against Gervonta Davis, um, was real or not. Well, let's see what he's made of. I think he might though. I think he could outbox a guy like Pitbull Cruz, but Cruz is a difficult guy to fight, man. He's gonna come forward. He's gonna be all up on your grill, and you're gonna have to solve that puzzle. You're gonna have to be tough, have a good chin, and stay patient in there. So, I think I would give the slight edge to Lamont Roach, but not sure I'm too convinced as of now. I kind of know what your answer is gonna sound like, but I want to hear it either way.
I know that you think I'm gonna go for a Pitbull Cruz, and normally I would, but I'm gonna have to agree with you. And for now, for the time being, I think if Lamont Roach is as good as he thinks he is, and if it's not a coupled effect with what I just mentioned earlier with Gervonta Davis's distractions outside of the ring, or him just caring about the money, I think he could outbox Pitbull Cruz. But I still believe in Pitbull, man. I wanna. Lamont Roach is a smaller guy coming up to 140, so I feel like the advantage has to go for Pitbull, even though he is shorter. But that ferocity, that tenacity is there, and I think he's going to want to prove himself. And I think a Lamont Roach, those styles make for one another. They're great foils for one another. The boxer against the aggressor. So I think it's a 50-50 right now, Gio. So I wanna say Pitbull, but my brain says Lamont right now. So as we get closer and as I see how they're preparing, I'll give you a more adequate prediction. But right now, if I had to keep my money, I would bet on Lamont right now.
Yeah, and I think both guys. I says I'm 6'2". I'm taller. He says. It says Iceman, but yeah. Look, I just clicked on the tickets. This is going down in San Antonio, Texas. Not sure how well that would sell over there. But you can get the cheapest ticket for $100. We'll see how that sells. PVC. But yeah, that's December 6th. Isaac Cruz versus Lamont Roach. They're both about the same size. I would say more on the smaller side, coming up in weight classes. But yeah, I think this is a very interesting one. We definitely have time to analyze more and discuss. But I like this one. I like it.
Yeah, I would say Pitbull Cruz is like a limited Maidana, or Lamar Roach is like a limited Mayweather. So I mean, those styles are made for each other, Joe. So it's going to be an interesting fight. It's going to be a good fight. I see it going the distance, but I see a lot of back and forth. So yeah, man. I want to see Pitbull on top. I think he's great for the fan base. He says all the right things. It's easy for the Mexican faithful to get behind him. Did he? But yeah, man, he's got to show up again. He's got losses to Gervonta Davis. He's got some good wins over Rolly. So he's very up and down. Again, against same fighters, you got to stay consistent if you want to convince the Geos of the world that you're the good. So he needs a big win. Lamont Roach knows that he could also make a name for himself off a win over Pitbull Cruz. So this one is an intriguing fight, Gio.
Yeah, 100%. What other topics do you have, Chris? I know we're gonna keep this one relatively short, but are there any other topics that you wanted to discuss tonight?
One of these bits made the rounds, Gio, on social media. I don't know if you, I know you don't spend on social media too much, but there was a video that went around that made the rounds where Ryan Garcia, alongside Max Kellerman and the crew, went on and said that Triple G is not a Hall of Famer because he hasn't fought any names outside of Canelo. What are your thoughts on that, Gio? And do you agree or disagree?
I can see why he would say that. I can see why a boxing fan would say that if you don't watch boxing. No, I'm joking. Um, I mean that's always kind of like the argument, right? I do think Triple G is a Hall of Famer. You know, he had um an incredible run at middleweight. You know, obviously it was during an era where, you know, the middleweight division wasn't the hottest. You know, it wasn't really until Canelo moved up in weight where um Triple G started getting those quote unquote big fights, I guess you can say, because I mean he had fought names before that. It's just obviously if you're not an avid boxing fan, you wouldn't recognize a lot of those guys, but any guy they put in front of him, he was knocking him out. Now, I think that first fight with Canelo, I think solidifies his status. You know, he didn't lose that one. A lot of people thought he won. You know, obviously he lost a couple more times after that to Canelo, but you know, having that type of fight, I think the first two fights were magnificent fights. I don't think people give him enough credit, you know, because obviously Canelo's a polarizing figure and Triple G can be as well, you know, especially to the people who weren't really watching boxing, you know, in that era. But you know, fighting a guy like Canelo, that's really the biggest name you can fight in that whole era, you can say. You know, just like Crawford now, I think the criticism was the same. Like, who has he fought? Well, now he fought the guy. So, um, yeah, I always look at resumes. Um, but you also got to look at what they did before that. And, you know, I think Triple G as an amateur and as a pro, great career. He's going to go down as having one of the greatest chins in history, one of the most powerful punches in history. And like I said, I believe he tied the record at the middleweight division for the most middleweight title defenses with Bernard Hopkins. So, yeah, he had a great run. I do think he's a Hall of Famer. I think if you were to ask most people, they would say he is.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I agree with you. I think Ryan's take was very casual, very mainstreamy. It almost makes him, in my opinion, I think makes him look bad that he doesn't, you know, see the body of work that Triple G did even before he came to the States. I think just the fact that he came to the States, like you said, started putting a string of wins together, extended that undefeated streak, defended those titles for that many times, equaling the great legends of old. That alone puts him in the Hall of Fame. Again, just winning a crowd over like the Mexican fan base, even without speaking the language. That says a lot, man. That puts seats in chairs. That brings in pay-per-view numbers. That makes you, beloved amongst the fight fans. So I think it was a little ignorant from Ryan Garcia, to be honest. But I mean, it's Ryan Garcia. So again, I know Triple G doesn't have the name recognition like, say, a Manny Pacquiao, or say doesn't have the resume like a Canelo Alvarez. But if you go down the list, he's got some good names. You think of the Matthew Macklins, the Andy Murrays, and the list goes on. Again, there were top 10 fighters, formidable guys at that division at that time. They were the ones that were there, and he knocked them out. So again, yeah, I think Triple G, without a doubt, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And again, man, somebody, come on, somebody smack Brian. That was a horrible take.
Do you know the context of why he said it, or do we
I
not
think
know? Got to look this up.
I don't know. I think Max just asked him. I think something it came up, and he just, yeah. I just saw the small little clip. I'm sure there's more context to it. And I mean, Ryan Garcia is a smart guy. I'm sure there's got to be more than just that. But I think just that little clip that went viral, just
Yeah.
he got a lot of heat on the social media comment.
Yeah. Like I said, I think there are more arguments for Triple G than against. But yeah. Is he officially retired, Triple G? I know he's like, I think coaching now, or he's part of a committee, right? Olympic
Yeah,
boxing.
I
But
don't think
hey,
he officially
yeah.
retired. I was gonna say I don't think he officially retired the way Loma did, but he's pretty much retired. Like you said, he's
Yeah.
coaching. He's part of that team. He's in politics for a little while. Yeah, he's pretty much retired without saying it, in my opinion. But yeah, man, Triple G was a goat, man. Come on now, put some respect on his name.
I would like to see him again. Not gonna lie.
I would love to see an
Hey,
exhibition
man.
if him and
Bro,
I was gonna say I would love.
yeah.
I would. I was gonna say I would love to see an exhibition of him and Sergio got in shape. You know,
Martinez or Arenas?
man, get both in one night. Nah, the Maravilla, give him 6 rounds, man, 6, 7 rounds, and that's it. Get that quality, not that quantity, man. We saw when Chavez Senior got in there for a 50-year-old dude, he
Hey,
still had it. So
let me tell you this: Triple G right now against Eddie's Landy Lara at 160. Man,
it's a title. Man.
tell me he wouldn't Manny Pacquiao Mario Barrios. Come on, man.
That's a good one.
Come on, man.
Call our boy Andy over there, all gas, no breaks. Get 2 months in, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
Triple
man.
G, get the belt back, man. It's a wrap.
Yeah, but hey, like we said, we are gonna try to keep this one relatively short. That is all I have. Chris, I don't know if you have anything else, but I'll buy you some time. Thank you guys. I'm gonna give my quick shout outs before I give you the last word. Chris, thank you guys for keeping it lit, for tuning in live. Shout out to all you guys who will be watching this on replay. I know it's kind of late. But yeah, if you haven't subbed, make sure to sub. And we have a lot more videos in the tuck, man. We just haven't released them. But yeah, we'll be back next week. October. There's some action, man. Boots Ennis this weekend. Of course, we're gonna have Fundora, Keith Thurman toward the end of the month, and then November, we're gonna get a ton of good action. So yeah, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it, Chris.
Yeah, Joe, I hate ending on a somber note, man, but I'd be remiss if we didn't mention, the passing of Arturo Gatti Jr. I mean, such sad news in boxing. Obviously, we all know him because of his legendary father, and we saw him on social media. It was easy to get, to back this kid up just because of who his dad was, but him following his dad's footsteps and wanting to get into the sport and wanting to make a legacy of his own. So yeah, this is really sad news out of boxing that happened earlier this week. Rest in peace, Arturo Gatti Jr. Sad, man, sad news in boxing.
Yeah, also RIP Ricky Hatton, man, who was supposed to make a comeback. I don't think we had the chance to talk about the hitman Ricky Hatton, but he was supposed to make a comeback in professional boxing, and yeah, that didn't happen either. So RIP Ricky Hatton as well.
Rest in peace, champs. Again, the boxing family, we're a fraternity. There's a reason why us as fans follow the sport. So man, rest in peace to these two, Ricky the Hitman Hatton, the champ, and Arturo Gatti Jr., who was just beginning to embark on a boxing career, man.
Yeah, man, that's all we got. That's all we got. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Nice and short, Chris, like me, nice and short. We'll
Hey, short kings, man. That's all right. All right. We'll come back next week. Got the Wi-Fi up. We're ready to go. We're in Montana, freezing our butts off. But hey, boxing don't stop, and the fights are coming, man. Let's go.
No Diddy.
Shout out to Canelo. Let me see if we can see him. He's still here. He's still around. He's still here.
He's somewhere. Oh, there he is. Yeah, I see him.
Little delayed reaction, man. That's all right. Canelo, hey, you to the champ, still the face of boxing. No problem. 150 million after a loss, no problem. Let's go.
Payday.
Vámonos.
Peace, mates.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas, un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Against the Ropes. Huge shout out to Against the Ropes. Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview, and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time on y'all day.